Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Worlds of Wall Street. Another video, Bepro this time. This is really cool. So many people, and this is really weird because I like Bepro. I've been following this a long time, investing a long time. Used to stake it on Qcoin, it was really cool. Built a relatively good portfolio for it, to be honest. And I will agree to an extent. Some people's comments out there that it perhaps wasn't motioning itself as we were hoping to, but maybe the answer is now finally arisen to perhaps why. We'll go into a bit more detail around the thoughts of that in a second. But Bepro finally is waking up in the market, which we'll go on to a bit later as well. But more importantly, it's coming out with some interesting news, which I think will be very welcomed by both investors and people that were perhaps investing previously and bought in, maybe at top areas and been disappointed with the losses, whatever. We do get a lot of people very angry towards Bepro, or indeed I won't go as far as trolling because I don't consider it trolling. I think it's funny when people get very irate in the comments, not towards me, but as towards Bepro, and like, oh, what are they doing about the price? And it's like, well, what do you mean what are they doing about the price? They're a project, they're a technology. Bepro is a token for developers to be paid for doing things like hackathons and developing projects in Web3, like, end of discussion. They're not here to excite us to an extent as investors, right? So that being said, we are investing in the sense that we believe that it will increase in value as it's used more, as the technology is used more, the developers are, or indeed its system is being able to integrate via what they call like white label. So they essentially have the ability to provide a service to people, or for projects to utilize pre-made technology and stuff. So it's really cool. But this topic here is really, really interesting. So we were trying to do this video a couple of days ago, but of course, as I said, so many videos to get through and stuff like that, and time with work and stuff, my real proper work as it were, has not been allowing me to do so. So we missed the opportunity to do this video a couple of days ago. We saw the increase in Bepro on the price chart, and this is pretty much why. So this is to do with I don't really know how you say it, TAIKAI, which acquires, so they purchased Bepro. They purchased Bepro Network Labs. Interesting to see what happens with the Bepro token moving forwards. I see the comments are very bullish, very positive. No one's really asked about anywhere, okay, what's happening with the Bepro token? Hello, question. So hopefully they continue to use Bepro as the mechanism of that, because I don't think there's like a TAIKAI coin or token or anything as far as I've seen just yet. I haven't gone full deep into this yet, but very interesting indeed. So these guys already are interlaced with a multitude of big projects. Very easy to do name drops, by the way, but I've done a bit of research into the background of this and their connections. So these guys are kind of like Bepro, but they're more on the focus of like actually building the network of developers and encouraging more education behind it. Similar to what we talked about actually with Quant. Isn't it interesting that all these projects all of a sudden are starting to wake up to the fact that, hang on a minute, there's loads of developers out there that perhaps don't know too much about blockchain or the Web3, and we need them to. We really need to start enhancing the world, right? And take people from the old school, if you want to call it old school, or indeed the present day coding structures and this, that, and the other, to the new format. So it's very interesting, the development of this, and I can really see an investment market here in terms of developers. Okay, so very interesting to see this. So Portuguese company, very heavily involved. Look at these entity names here. Pfizer. Well, I guarantee to you probably 9% of the world population had no idea who Pfizer were before 2020. Very convenient. Nissan, of course, car, big, huge manufacturer. Microsoft, everyone knows Microsoft, who have just obviously acquired Activision as well. So they're going to need developers for that one. I'm sure they're going to build a metaverse for sure. The European Commission, this is a really interesting one for me because European Commission is very, very heavily involved with blockchain right now. Has been for years, of course, but very much so now. We talk about IOTA interlacing with those guys, Energy Web Foundation. There's really big projects going through the EC right now to develop this kind of technology. So very interesting. But of course, Bepro was all about hackathons and building technology programs, coding programs for companies around the world, right? Developing their own projects off the back of that, and also helping other projects start up. Used to be called Bet Protocol, for those that didn't know, and it was very much around trying to do the predictive market. Then it moved more into development. So there's kind of been a weird evolution to these guys over the short space of time, actually. I think this was like probably in the last 2-3 years, to be honest. So very interesting to see this development and partnership. Reason of the acquisition they mentioned here, very cool for Bepro to have this acknowledgement as well. So ever-growing need by enterprises and tech companies to enter the Web3 and leverage the power of blockchain technology. Exactly what we said a minute ago. And again, exactly what I'm excited about is we have a very early stage opportunities here. People, irrespective of this, and I totally get this is beforehand, but I've always believed in Bepro, especially as it moved into the development program and Web3 focus. And I'm standing by Bepro, and I'm staying with Bepro for as long as possible. And I think we're going to see some big things coming out of this over the next few years as developers come more and more on board and enterprises take this on board. So this is going to help. This partnership is huge. It's not a partnership, it's an acquisition. So there's no doubt that this is going to work forwards. So scaling Bepro network and increasing its developer and business adoption will now be spearheaded by TAIKAI. Now, extensive portfolio of enterprise, which we mentioned already. Series A investment round that happened in September 2021. So very interesting. Backing, obviously clearly backed magnificently. And the roadmap indeed, which we'll do a video probably on next week, where Bepro's one has been updated as well as these guys. Obviously, this isn't something that's happened overnight. This has happened for a while. So maybe the question or the answer to our question of people out there in the comments previously of like, what's Bepro doing? Why is it so quiet? This could have been the answer, that this is going on in the background. What arguably is the point in Bepro churning out information when actually the direction is going to change completely? So it totally makes sense now, actually, thinking about it. And it just shows you as well that maybe when projects are quiet and you still believe in them, you still know they're going to be good because you've seen the track record, you've seen the roadmaps, right? Something's happening in the background. So very interesting indeed, and that's possibly now the answer as to why it was, albeit to be fair, most markets were in a downward trend anyway, but I feel Bepro for a long time has been suppressed arguably to where it should be. So I have no doubt in my mind this is probably a conversation that's been going on for months and months and months. So very interesting to see this. Very interesting as well to see what happens with the team. So it says here, co-founders of Bepro Networks will now transition into support roles. Very interesting. So while the current CEO and CTO of TAIKAI will become the new executives. Okay, so what happens to the rest of the Bepro team? Very interesting indeed to see how that develops. But that's a really interesting point. This is why I asked the question about what's going to happen with the Bepro token. Are they going to mold it into a new token name? Are they going to keep the Bepro name? Who knows? This is going to be really interesting. But one thing for sure is just keep an eye on it, because you do see these things sometimes disappear off the face of the earth, right? So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but just let's keep a firm eye on this. We're going to be doing Bepro videos more and more because of this development. As an investor, obviously I'm very, very interlaced and interested in the moves coming forward. So yeah, what will change? Here we go. So now part of TAIKAI Bepro network are now empowered and developed. Bepro, the protocol and the roadmap remain on track, just with the added resources, talent, and customers. So at the moment, saying that nothing's going to happen with the token. This is just literally a combination of the team and the efforts and pushing that further forward. So at the moment, looking very positive. Unfortunately, missed the meet and greet. We're going to see if we can catch up or we're going to speak out to them and say, do you have like a recording of that? Or maybe we can get them on AMA. I think that'd be really cool, wouldn't it? And put some doubters' minds at rest. So I thought I'd just bring this to your attention, guys. I think this is really interesting. But let's jump into the chart and see the reflective pattern on how that affected the chart over the last few days. So we had this uptake here, which is obviously, I saw this up here and I was like, Bepro's gone crazy. What's going on? I read about it and I was like, oh, amazing. Let's do a video. And then couldn't get it done. Yesterday, absolutely horrible weather. I nearly said something else then. Pretty much knocking all the masts out. So I've got a phone that has no signal, so I'm using Wi-Fi, which is terrible. We're on like 10 megabytes here in the middle of nowhere. So the uploads of videos are slow, and I was like, I can't do this right now. The internet is so bad. But here we are. We've had the traction down, so obviously a bit of profit taking, especially from down here as well. To be fair, there's two opportunities. I think people are going to be loving that, buying it down here at 0.002 and then selling it up here at 0.005. So near enough a double return there, which is fantastic to see. So we're now on the tail back down, and we're now testing this lower region of 0.0036. So currently price point literally bang on what I just said. Can we get support there? We've had another bit of a green candle today, albeit that we're pretty much arguably started at midnight here in the UK. So near enough halfway through that. If we can get support there in the next couple of days, this is really good news. And arguably this news that's come out article-wise and acquisition-wise might just finally bring Bepro up to where it arguably should be. Finally getting some traction on Bepro, right? Which is really exciting. Still good buy areas in my opinion. Let's just take a look at the RSIs quickly. So we had the purchasing inputs here. The sell-offs are really interesting because they're really minimal. And I think that's another positive attribute to take into consideration. I'm just going to pull this down a bit and pull this up. I don't know why this does this every time with all my charts. The MACD still in a bullish momentum, albeit it's narrowing slightly, so just be cautious that we might stabilize and then work out whether we're coming down lower or higher. Hopefully we're getting these new higher lows, which are really good to see. From the RSI perspective, obviously great opportunity a couple of weeks ago to be purchasing at these lower regions. However, right now RSIs are looking quite healthy in a medium. Okay, so on the 14 day at 49, we did hit, yes, a couple of days ago, 62, very respectable, but still not like full on projection. And you're not going to see that really in any projects at the moment with the level that we're at and the considerations of world narratives and whatnot. So this is really good. Buying wise, like the price point's pretty low, isn't it? Regardless, and it's happy days for me personally to be obtaining Bepro every month like I do. I did buy a couple of weeks ago, and I did a few days ago as well before this uptake. I haven't sold any. I'm just trying to build the portfolio as much as possible. But for me right now, just waiting to see if there's a bit of a tail off a bit further, particularly on that 14 day. I'd like to see that come down to at least 45 before I make a decision of buying a lot more of it at the moment. But I'm pretty happy with my current bags. But if you're new to Bepro, this is exciting you for sure. These are good, relatively low regions. 50 is an argument of like it's a middle ground, so it's like literally up or down. It's that simple. So this is not financial advice, but I would just say like be considerate of the charts, be considerate of the world environments right now. And like I said, my personal opinion, my personal opportunist aspect of when I'm going to get more in is when that RSI on the 14 day hits around 45 and that sort of 28 day maybe comes around to like 42, 43. That's going to be another intake position for me, and I will indeed have a load more just in case we have a further reduction or a discount if you like on Bepro. Few other topics here for the indicators. Up 10% on the week. Amazing. Finally, Bepro in some green here on these indicators. Still just under 100% up on 1 year, but the year to date has been not great, and neither is the 3 months, but that's pretty much a consistent number across multiple asset markets right now. The 6 months has been probably the most disappointing one out of all those indicators for me personally. But like I said, this sort of stuff in the background could have been going on for quite some time. And that's probably maybe why we haven't been hearing masses out of Bepro as much as we thought we would. Bear in mind, they did, though, to be fair, do the roadmap quite recently, which we covered. So, yeah, I think this is really good news. Obviously, like we just mentioned, the token doesn't appear to be going anywhere. It's just in anything has been enhancing what Bepro is about and having more direction perhaps moving forward. I'm really interested in the fact that the key people in Bepro are now becoming support people. Interesting to see if Bepro maintains its own core and stability, or indeed maybe the token may transition. Don't write that off either. So let's definitely keep a firm eye on this. We're going to catch up with Bepro maybe midweek next week, see if we've maintained this area. If we have, that's new lower highs, which would be really exciting. Really exciting to take Bepro up to higher levels because it's so low at the moment price point wise. Remember last year we had some really good numbers up here. I think we hit like well over 2 cents, didn't we? We still had a price prediction of 20 cents. I still believe that if we get a full bull run, we could potentially do that. And particularly with this acquisition now, it's definitely possible. Look at that, 4.7, 4.8 cents I think we hit. Absolutely crazy bonkers if you're buying down to these regions here. Look at that. But look how well Bepro has arguably done. We had the big uptake, we've had to pull down, and now we're actually arguably at a really realistic current price point for Bepro, where it is in its life cycle, where it is as a company and an entity. Now with the takeover, let's see where this goes. But I'm really still very excited about Bepro, particularly about this acquisition. Let us know what you think about this in the comments below. Are you a bit more excited about this? Are you finally seeing the opportunity where Bepro can show us maybe in the next few years where this is going, especially with being opportunist with like some of these big names, companies out there that they've mentioned in the article there? Do let us know. But until the next Bepro video, guys, thanks so much for watching this one. We will indeed see you in the next one very soon. Bye bye.